Hey guys, and we're back. So we are talking about right now e-commerce software and merchant account. So this is part of the drop shipping business model. We've already touched on the domain name, how to get your logo, your reseller's permit through the Secretary of State, how to identify the niche markets, the simple strategies I use to find products to store, to source in my on my web store, and then going through the e-commerce software. So this is going to be the next step. So you got to have software. You have to have a technology that's going to allow you to upload products and get them up on the internet. So there's a couple of solutions for that, and I'm going to give you both the free options and the paid options and give you the pros and cons to each. So the first software that you're going to look at that I personally like is BigCommerce. BigCommerce. So there's two M's in there, so BigCommerce. So they've been around for a while, BigCommerce has. They're actually an out-of-the-box solution. They actually allow you to scale with your growth. So by saying scale with your growth, it means they're not going to get you in and say it's going to cost you $200 to $300 per month right out of the box, right? You might start paying $29.95. You might get your first 30 days free. It varies by their promotions that they do, but generally you're looking at about $30 a month, which is very inexpensive considering they have the whole store set up for you. It's search engine optimized out of the box, so there's a less thought process you have to do for the marketing side. They have everything pretty much integrated that you need. It syncs up perfectly with payment gateways. You've got your SSL certificate, so it makes processing easier. They're respected by the merchant account providers, so there's a lot less headache there. I find them to be very, very valuable to me because out of the box, I like out-of-the-box solutions, and to me $30 a month is actually nothing, for a business. Many of you, if you've owned a brick-and-mortar business, you're looking at thousands of dollars a month in overhead. But to have a technology that hosts your store and it does the hosting for you and everything for $30 a month, it's very inexpensive. So I like BigCommerce for that reason. I also like the fact that not just because they're inexpensive, but because they're very professional. They know what they're doing. They've been around this space for a while. Another big one out there is Shopify, and I believe they start pretty inexpensive. I haven't honestly used them. I've used BigCommerce and had better success with them. Shopify, they're actually pretty popular. They're very popular. The one downside with them is it can add up very quickly because they have a lot of add-ons. Now BigCommerce has add-ons as well. I do like some of their templates out of the box. They have some pretty nice looking templates that are either inexpensive or free. So they have some really good templates. Shopify does as well. But they have a lot of other additional add-ons. I think they start at like $10 for a very basic store per month, so they start really low. But you could end up paying $200, $300, $400 a month if you're not careful with all the different analytics tools. So just something to keep in mind. I'm not saying they're bad or anything. They're actually a good place to look into for setting up your e-commerce store. But any of these, they're going to integrate with GoDaddy and allow you to get your domain there, and it's really a seamless process. So I like these two a lot. I would recommend you go with one of these because it's going to be way easier for you. Another option that you can go with that's been around and there's thousands of stores running on it is actually WooCommerce. And another reason I like this one is all you need is a current web host provider, but you're going to want to have one that has an so you're going to want to have either your own server or you're going to want to pay, like if you go with HostGator or Bluehost, you're going to want to make sure you have SSL. So that stands for, it's a secure way to process and protect transaction and transactional information. If you don't have that, merchant account providers aren't going to do business with you. Even some of the suppliers may not do business with you. So you want to make sure that you have a good SSL. And if you're wondering what that is, just call your hosting company. I'm here to tell you guys what you're going to want to have in place, but each hosting company is going to be different in what they charge or what account to get. But I think the business plan at HostGator will have that, and that's like $12 a month. But if you already have web hosting with them and you already have an SSL and you're familiar with WordPress, you could use WooCommerce because WooCommerce actually integrates with WordPress. And it's very simple to set up a store with WooCommerce. I actually find it to be a simple way to go, and I actually like that. I think it's a really good system. So WooCommerce is another good option for you. It allows you to get a very simple store. There are a lot of themes. There's a lot of plugins that are free. That's a big positive. And then you're not paying monthly for the shopping cart. So that's actually another very big positive. And you're not paying per transaction. With some of these bigger providers, especially BigCommerce, they do charge like a very minimal percent per transaction. To me, I still think it's worthwhile because ultimately they know what they're doing, and they've been in the e-commerce space. They're the experts, and I would rather like having that peace of mind. So that's just me. But WooCommerce is also a really good solution. Another one that's kind of decreasing in popularity, but it was around a while when a lot of people were starting out. It was called OS Commerce. So OS Commerce is another one. And it's one of those, out-of-the-box solutions, but you need to be more technical savvy to use that one. It used to be kind of the go-to source. It's kind of fading out, but it's still a good option. There's a lot of plugins. It's an open source shopping cart solution. But I personally would go in this order. This is my preference. But you can decide. I mean, a lot of people will debate. They love Shopify. Some people love WooCommerce. So I would go with one of these three, or you could look at OS Commerce. It's another free option as well. But if you're gonna need hosting with either of these. So in my opinion, if you're already paying for hosting, you may as well just go with a good provider. So let's talk about your merchant account here in just a moment. So here is the merchant account. So we got our e-commerce software covered. Now let's talk about your merchant account. So the merchant account that I recommend, there's a couple options. So these are the people that are going to do the transactions for you, meaning they're going to process credit card payments on your website. Obviously, you have to have this or you don't have a business. So it's really important that you follow all the steps that we've already talked about in getting your domain and everything set up, because it's all geared towards helping you get a merchant account as well, because they want to verify things. So obviously the first provider, and probably the easiest one to start with, is going to be PayPal. Another option that you could use through PayPal is called PayPal Pro. Alright, in this video we're talking about merchant accounts. You need to have a merchant account for your dropshipping business, because that's how you're going to get paid. If you do not have a merchant account, you're not going to get paid, you're not going to have a business. So we're here to talk about what merchant accounts that I would recommend personally. So we'll start with the simplest on down, and then there's a few other ones that you can consider. So one of the first ones is PayPal. PayPal actually is obviously, PayPal is great. They've been around for a long time. They're great for digital products, they're great for services, they're great for physical products. So PayPal is actually a really good way to start. And you want to try and have more than PayPal when you launch your business, because a lot of people, when it comes to shopping online, they're used to using an actual credit card. They don't want to be using PayPal, so they're not really used to that all the time. So I would personally recommend that you get PayPal, but also offer an alternative, because some people don't want to use PayPal, and there's some people that can't use PayPal. So I would definitely go with PayPal for starters. At least you can get started. The next option out there is PayPal Pro. So that's actually a service that PayPal provides, and it's called PayFlow Pro. So it's another really good option for processing your credit cards. PayPal Pro actually integrates with your PayPal account, so you can have PayPal Express checkout and PayPal Pro on the same store, so you can process credit cards like normal. So somebody would go to your website, put in their credit card info, and it's going to process, but all the accounting, all the money is going to go right to your PayPal, and then from there you could actually transfer it to your bank account, use the PayPal debit card to buy your inventory. It's kind of a cool way to do drop shipping, in my opinion. So these are two really good options. PowerPay is another merchant account. I will say with PowerPay, they tend to work with sometimes higher risk merchants. They're really easy, pretty simple to get approved with, and they are a merchant account. They integrate with Authorize.net. They've been around a while. The one thing with PowerPay though is your fees are going to be pretty high. So you're looking at about a 4 or a little higher processing fee than what you're going to get with PayPal. I'm not sure the exact percentage, but it just depends on kind of your business's credit history, and sometimes it's going to be higher than PayPal Pro, for example. 2Checkout is another great provider. The one thing about 2Checkout though is the money, unlike these ones where the money gets right into either your PayPal or your bank account, 2Checkout will actually get you weekly disbursements. You'll get paid once a week on your money. I actually don't like that as much for e-commerce, because cash flow is important, because you're buying inventory and paying for advertising and different things like that. So 2Checkout is kind of more of a last resort option, but they do work, and especially for smaller merchants, if you're selling 10 or 15 products, a little boutique online store, that might not be a bad option. And if for whatever reason you can't get approved with PayPal, 2Checkout actually accepts PayPal and credit cards. So that's definitely an option for you to consider. And then you can also do a basic Google search for merchant accounts to find merchant accounts that you can work with. Now I want to tell you about two other merchant accounts. The first one is called Stripe. So you can do a Google search for Stripe, but Stripe is another easy to get approved for a merchant account that deposits the money straight into your bank account. So it's a way to process credit cards. They integrate with WooCommerce. They integrate with BigCommerce, with Shopify. So Stripe's another really good option. And then a final option here is Braintree. Braintree. And the reason I recommend them, they actually are another PayPal company. So they're another PayPal company, but they're operated a little bit different. They do credit cards and all that. But the cool thing with Braintree is that if you go, for example, with BigCommerce, they actually integrate seamlessly with Braintree. In fact, when you first open your BigCommerce store, in the same application as you get your store going, you could actually apply for Braintree processing, and you're actually instantly approved, barring, to do some initial transactions. So that way you already have a provider in place. Once you get products going in the store, you're actually able to start selling right away. And then once you go through their verification processes, they'll lift any of the limits on your account. But they actually are integrated seamlessly with BigCommerce. So they're right there with BigCommerce, just as an idea. Okay? So these are the options for getting your merchant account processing. So that these companies here will process credit cards for you. So in the next video, let's touch on adding products to your store, and then what it takes to launch your store on the web, some promotional strategies, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Hey guys, we're back, and we're at the final stage of getting our store ready to go. So at this point, you should have followed all the previous steps, which gets you to the point where you're ready to market your store. So here we are. So it's time to launch your store. You've got your products added to the store, which are a very straightforward process. It's a matter of copying and pasting the descriptions that they give you from the manufacturers. So most of the time the manufacturers will give you product descriptions and product images. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what to do after you've got those all uploaded so that you can market your store properly when you get it launched. So the first part of marketing your store is SEO, or search engine optimization. And so that's where you're going to use title tags that identify your product. So it's going to be title tags related to the product. So instead of just saying, your store name, so let's say Paul's Pet Products, let's say for example, instead of just calling your store like Paul's Pet Products, you would, for the title tag, you would actually say, keyword phrases like ergo pet feeder, ergo dog feeder, ergo cat feeder. So those are keywords that people would be searching for to find that particular pet feeder. They're going to look for cat feeder. They're going to look for electronic pet feeder. Those are keyword phrases that you want to identify. So to find keywords, we can go out to Google and just do a simple search in Google for the phrase that you're trying to target. So we could type in pet feeders, for example. And if you look at the very bottom of Google, they're actually going to identify additional keywords that people also searched for. So that is one strategy that you can implement for finding good keywords to use in your title tag. We call it the Google suggestion box, and so that's where if you start typing into Google, it's going to say people also searched for this. It'll show up at the bottom, or it's going to drop up a little menu there that's going to give you some additional keywords. So SEO, title tags are great. Another part of SEO is unique content. So remember I was talking about just a little bit ago about how you're copying and pasting the descriptions. So when you get these product descriptions, everybody else that's also selling the same products are actually going to be doing the very same things. So they're actually going to be copying and pasting the same product description. So this is your chance to enhance your SEO by being unique. So add some comedic relief to those. Maybe add some additional reviews of the product. Maybe find actual reviews that people left on other websites. And you could even reference, people on Amazon said this about this product, or people here said this, or, if you wanted to go that route. Obviously be careful about copying other content, but you could say, I saw people online said this about this product, or the consensus review was that. So think of ways to be creative, maybe add comedy to it, maybe enhance what the product's going to do. One of my favorite examples of doing this was when I first started selling on eBay. I had those little stars, those glow-in-the-dark stars, and I had those, and I put them up on eBay. And I decided for fun to write a little story about those stars. So I talked about how those stars, were going to enhance your child's learning, how they were going to take your kids' knowledge of the solar system to the next level, how their kids are going to be brighter than the other kids because they go to bed looking at these stars. And I actually started selling those products for 5 times higher than the nearest competition, and I had people asking me where more of those stars were for the exact same stars. It was pretty funny to watch happen, and that right there triggered in my mind how important good copy and sales copy is. So not only does it enhance your conversions if you could be unique, and I'm not saying do a whole long sales letter for each product, but maybe do, instead of just taking the paragraph they get you, maybe do 2 paragraphs and talk about the value of this product. Why is a electronic pet feeder valuable? So you can go away on the weekend, and not have to worry about feeding your pet, or so you can, if you get stuck in a traffic jam, your dog is not hurting or anything, or not hungry. So think of ways that you can kind of enhance that. It's going to help your SEO because it's going to make your content unique. That brings me to blogging. Blogging is another great way to get ongoing traffic. So if you're going to use WooCommerce, it's already integrated with WordPress, which is a blog. BigCommerce, I know, for example, also has a blog set up. So you can actually do blogging, and you can do articles that we like to call listicles. So those are engaging articles. And a listicle might be the top 10 reasons, or top 10 ways to bathe your pet. Top 10 ways to bathe your cat effectively. Funny articles that help people do something. So if you're a pet website, tips on training your pet would be awesome. Tips on helping your pet, not beg at the table. Let's say a holiday's coming around. You could do a list on the top 10 items to avoid giving your pet around Thanksgiving. Because there's certain items that might make a dog or a cat sick. So if you had a pet website, that'd be a beautiful article. If you're in the survival niche, you could do an article about some of the crazy stuff going on in the news that might be applicable to them, or something that might scare people into making sure they're protected. But at the end of each article, always link back into a certain product if you can, and that gets people going on your website. You could even curate content curation. That means go out there on YouTube, find quality videos related to your niche market or funny videos, and actually put a listing of those. So you could say, here's the top 5 funniest cat videos of this week or something, and post those out there, put it out on your social media, and then people will start sharing that content. And so that's a really good way to get engaging content, get people onto your website, even if they're just landing on your blog. The fact is, your blog, especially on BigCommerce, is embedded in your store. You've got your store name up there, you've got your products. People might stick around and start browsing and seeing what kind of products you have. Facebook ads, obviously a great way to go. With Facebook ads, you can target people that have dog owners. You can specifically target people by geographic area. So if you don't want to ship to people in Alaska, you could actually exclude them from your targeting, and you could be very specific there. So you can target dog owner groups of people that have cats owners, people that are that have liked other cat pages, those types of things. Facebook groups, start your own Facebook group, post your engaging content on there. Have your store's Facebook group, but also maybe start a niche specific Facebook group. So if you're in the survival niche, maybe do a whole page all about preppers. It doesn't have to be your brand name, but it could be all about preppers. But since you own the group, you could actually post whatever you want about your business. Bing ads, Bing ads are great because they actually are advertisements, the paid advertisements that you see, so the PPC ads, pay-per-click ads. So every time somebody clicks on the ad, you get charged for it. But the beauty of it is you're only getting charged for traffic that's very targeted. So when you do this, you don't want to just do search, target keyword phrases like dog supplies or survival or office chairs. You want to target very specific, like Ergo automatic pet feeder, automatic pet feeders. Very specific brand name searches, very specific keyword phrases is going to be the best result, because the longer search string people put in for Bing or even Google AdWords, same thing, the more apt they are to buy, the more buyer, the more of a consumer they're likely to be. So Bing ads are ads that show up on Google, or excuse me, on Bing and Yahoo. Google AdWords are the exact same thing as well. Amazon ads, it's actually another way. I know, you're probably thinking, why would I actually advertise my e-commerce store on Amazon? And you can actually do a search for Amazon pay-per-click. They actually have pay-per-click ads, and your ad will show up amongst relevant Amazon products. It's just another way Amazon makes money. They look at it as, we can't sell every single product, although they would like to. They have so much traffic, they want to make money on it. So you may actually break even on the products you're selling, because you might not make a profit, but if you get a customer, you could actually offer them additional products down the road. So Amazon ads are something to consider. Google Shopping is going to be a really tremendous way to launch your store to the marketplace. They have a thing called Merchant Center that allows you to put all your products out there in Google Shopping. Now, if you're looking for a particular product, you probably have seen exactly what I'm talking about, where you're out there, you're doing a search for automatic pet feeder on Google, and up pops, a listing of pet feeders amongst with other websites and maybe articles and videos and things of that nature. But that's because of Merchant Center. It's actually a free way to kind of get your content out there. You can do some paid ads in there as well. They'll do remarketing. So if somebody was on your website and they're out browsing on Google, all of a sudden the shopping listing is going to show up. I've had that happen to me, where you're browsing on a website, you don't buy anything, but all of a sudden the advertisements follow me around as I'm on Google doing searches. Google Trusted Stores, they also have that program, so that's a good way to get people to trust you. A good part of marketing is once people trust you, they're willing to pull out their wallets and spend money. So Google Trusted Stores is part of Google Shopping. Videos is another great way, so video reviews of your products, actually talking about your products, maybe useful tips related to your niche market, putting those out on YouTube. You might not get a big following right away, but just getting a camera out, standing in front of there, kind of like what I'm doing right now, and that's a really tremendous way to kind of grow your following. And then press releases is going to be another phenomenal strategy for getting content out there. So that's where you write an article or a short press release for the news telling them about your new website that's just launching. You kind of get the buzz going. You can put it out. There's several websites. There's one called prunderground.com, prunderground.com. For about $39 you can get guaranteed placement in the Google News Network, and it's going to actually get your article blasted out there. So these are just some basic ideas. Obviously consistency is key, so always consistently posting content to your website. And I'm not talking just new products, I'm talking unique product descriptions as well, but blogging, engaging content, doing those videos, getting your products out there in Google Shopping, tweaking your ad campaigns. It's not just one thing. If you do one thing and then you're going to sit back and say, I'm going to collect all this money, you have to constantly be working. Why do the big companies out there pay employees $100,000 a year to do their marketing, or $50,000 or $75,000? It's because they always need it ongoing. It's not a one-off thing. Now, if you do things correctly, though, you might get some good organic traffic that's coming in, but it's going to take a while. So just keep that in mind. Just because you get your store out there and you don't have tons of sales doesn't mean you give up and say, oh, this isn't for me. You need to go out there and just be very consistent in what you do. So again, that wraps it up. Thanks for following this. By the end of this video here, you guys at least have some ideas on how to go out there and start your own drop shipping business, selling physical product with your own e-commerce store. Congratulations, guys.